What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. All right, so Russia has attacked a NATO membered country. Russia has attacked a NATO member country. Now, this is it. This is the moment. All right, at the least, Article 4, NATO Charter. At the most, Article 5. You attack one, you attack all. So now NATO has been attacked. What you're about to see is how weak NATO actually is without America. You're about to see NATO do absolutely nothing. Because what they're supposed to do, all right, is start attacking or defending or, offensive, defensive measures against Russia. This is supposed to get the, NATO into the fight. Now, Russia says it was a accident. There's always accidents happening. But to me, I feel like Russia just stuck his toe in the water and say, what y'all gonna do? Right? Because what made NATO dangerous, all those European countries that used to fight each other for hundreds of years before they came up with NATO to stop themselves from killing each other the way they were doing for hundreds of years continuously, because that's why they needed NATO, because Europeans can't stop killing each other for various political and religious and social, structural reasons. They had to create NATO to stop them from killing each other. Keep in mind, that's the whole reason. And so they can rape, murder, and pillage the world together in unison, right? And stop killing each other, right? So now that NATO, which is supposed to be so powerful, it's supposed to be the gold standard of, global law enforcement and all that. Yeah, now what you gonna do now? Now that Russia just did it. They did it. And if you don't do nothing, they know you're a biznitch, all right? Now, we know usually, Europe flexes their muscles because they have Big Brother America, right? Big Brother America, which is really big-ass little brother, all right? Big-ass little brother. Clearly the younger brother of white supremacy, but bigger and stronger than all of them, right? America is supposed to do all the work, all right? Just like we're doing all the work for Israel right now in the Middle East and been doing all the work for Israel in the Middle East. America's supposed to do all the work for white people, in Europe. White America is supposed to be the military for all white people, supposed to back them up, right? White European countries are supposed to continue to benefit from the revenue from the transatlantic slave trade by taking advantage and having leverage over the rest of the world based off America, the ultimate colony's ability to be dominant militarily, because, that 400 years of free slave labor that made America the richest and most prosperous modern country in history, right? Because of the rape, murder, and pillage of 400 years of free corporate, profit. All right, so now you got a Donald Trump who is a German Schnitzelwinkel, all right, Nazi, who doesn't care about the rest of Germany, right? He only cares about Israel, which is the rich white people, basically. He just cares about the rich white people. So now that America, and plus he's a for some reason, even though he's a German, pretending to be a Swedish guy, pretending to be an American, full-blooded American. He's really not a legacy American, but he still has the idea of America, the colony, being his primary, location. So he's all about white supremacy, American white supremacy, not global white supremacy. He wants American white supremacy to continue to control and dominate global white supremacy, which is the Jews, right, and the other Jews, not the non-practicing IDF Jews. All right, like Benjamin Netanyahu, who's from New York, who's an American, by the way, a white American cosplaying as a Semitic leader of a rogue country, right? Failed state of Israel, big ass extension of American base and white rich people's power, right? So now that the attack has happened, Russia's saying, "What you gonna do?" We know America ain't gonna do nothing, and you know what Russia did before they accidentally, fired upon a NATO country? They made sure that America used up most of its missile supplies. Yeah, in that stupid ass illegal war in Iran, where we're firing off all the rockets and missiles and stuff that we were supposed to give Ukraine to fight Russia. All of our supplies are depleted. Now China's about to jump in the game too, because they're gonna take Taiwan. Because what's America going to do? They ain't got no more bullets, no bombs. They can't militarily support because they put so much effort into the illegal activities of Iran for no reason. And they gave up most of their stuff to Israel, they gave up between Israel bombing everybody and America and the stupid Iran thing on behalf of Israel. We're depleting our stockpile. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to make the moves they wanted to make. And that's probably what's going to happen. right? But anyway, let's see what Trump's going to do. If he don't do nothing, he a bitch. If Trump don't do nothing, bitch, because this is what this is supposed to be your moment. You're American president. You know, you're supposed to jump on there and show how tough you are, how big and bad you are. What about Pete Hegseth, Mr. War Machine, We're not gonna use lethal force. We're not gonna use kinetic action. He's not gonna go make some great G.I. Joe speech about how we about to go attack the Russians, how we about to go defend ourselves from the Russians, how we about to go, maximize lethality with the Russians. You ain't gonna go no badass G.I. Joe speeches from Hegseth. I'm waiting for the Hegseth. Where the same energy? You ain't got the same energy. Apparently, Iran could just blink and they attacking you, and that's your excuse for terrorizing that country because they blinked a couple times and you're like, oh shit, they got a gun. The same way y'all say black people got a gun just because they standing there and shit. What, gun black, they black, so when they hand move it look like it's a gun. That's your excuse as white people. Y'all, I'm swear, white people make up all kind of excuses and shit. I just want to know what you're gonna say now. How big and bad and tough you gonna be now that Russia said what you gonna do? That's all I want to know. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So we've got some very troubling news, Justin. A Russian one-way attack drone has struck a residential building. It appears to be an apartment building in eastern Romania in a city called Galat. Now, the big question on everybody's mind as of this moment is, does this mean that Article 5 of NATO will be invoked? Article 5 basically says that an attack on one NATO country is an attack on all NATO countries. Now, here's a video of the impact. We are hearing that there were injuries, some serious. We're still learning more about the full scope of that. And this is obviously horrifying, but I want to make sure I'm not overselling this. What is probably the clearest explanation, or what Russia will say, is that they were trying to fire on Ukraine and they misfired, hitting Romania. And whether that's the case or whether they are trying to test NATO in some way, this is a very shocking development. We're going to keep following this story and more, so make sure you're following our account, and remember to listen to the Midas Touch podcast anywhere you find podcasts for more.
Drone has just slammed into an apartment block in Romania, which is a NATO country, not Ukraine. And some might try to say, oh, this is unintentional, maybe electronic warfare, maybe it went off path. Nope, because this is actually a predictable trajectory and the next steps that many have been looking for, including myself, given the desperation of Russia with respect to losing in Ukraine, 35,000 casualties a month, and more importantly, the signaling from Donald Trump, if not the outright sellout by Donald Trump explicitly, in that he's been pulling troops, airplanes, and reducing force structures to defend against a Russian attack on NATO. I mean, he's effectively made the NATO treaty non-existent at this point. Now, NATO will kick Russia's ass all up and down the block if there's an actual war. They actually have a larger ground army than we do in the United States. Not just troops, but also tanks, artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, all kinds of other stuff. Hundreds and hundreds of nuclear weapons, F-35s, Dassault Rafale, fighter jets. They can put in work. Don't worry about that. But the point being, we'll see how this goes. NATO needs to treat this as intentional, as an act of war, until it is affirmatively proven otherwise by clear and very convincing evidence.
Romania called for Article 5 because, technically speaking, Russia struck a NATO country. That is the question you guys have right now. The simple answer is no. Usually when instances like this happen, Russia gets on the call. They're probably on the phone call with Romania right now, and they say, sorry, we didn't mean to strike you. It was a Russian drone targeting a Ukrainian building or military object or X, Y, and Z, and mistakenly got lost because of a jammer. It then mistakenly flew into your country, and because there was no connectivity, it slammed into your building. We apologize, and that's probably going to be the end of it. I know some people, I've read the comments, want Romania to turn around and say, yeah, we're going gung-ho and going right into Russia. But unfortunately, you don't pull an entire, NATO / any defensive group into this for this kind of circumstance. It would need to be like Russia launched multiple missiles and drones into a city inside of Europe. Then you would respond. What will Russia say? We don't know yet. I'll be sure to keep you updated. So please do share this video and follow me for more.
NATO cannot casually strike military infrastructure inside Belarus without risking immediate escalation from Moscow. That creates a protected forward operating area for Russia. Moscow gains missile launch geography close to NATO territory while keeping those systems outside Russia itself. And Russia's updated 2024 nuclear doctrine reinforces that projection, right? Under the revised doctrine, an attack on Belarus supported by a nuclear power can be treated by Moscow as a joint attack against Russia itself.
You have warned that Ukraine has intelligence that Russia is preparing for a new massive attack. This is after Moscow had warned foreign nationals to leave your capital city ahead of expanded strikes. Exactly what are you bracing for?
So, first of all, today at night or tomorrow at night, we will have. We think that we will have a big attack from Russian side, using drones, using cruise missiles and ballistic. And we see the preparation. Always we see the preparation. By the way, we are thankful to United States and European partners when they share with us intelligence. So when we know that Russia prepares a big, massive attack, definitely our partners also know. Maybe not a lot of details, but we know. So today, of course, I didn't address yet to my country. I will do it a little bit later in the evening. And of course, I will say that our people have to be very, very careful, cautious, and children, and they have to use bomb shelters, because today at night or tomorrow at night, high percent, of course, nobody knows 100%, but there is a high percent. So usually we have each day attack from Russian side on civilians and of course on battlefield. And 2 times a week or 2 times per 10 days, they have big massive attacks with ballistic and etc. Last massive attack, just to understand, it was some days ago. It was 600 drones, Iranian drones, Shaheeds, and they had 35, about 30 plus ballistic missiles, and totally it was 90 missiles and more than 600 Iranian drones. So it was very difficult to destroy it. We used all our weapons, what we have, what we produce, and of course we used anti-ballistic missiles. This is the biggest deficit for us.
Mm-hmm. Overnight, a Russian drone slammed into a Romanian building. We also saw a Russian drone hit a Turkish ship. These are NATO member states. We're hearing from European countries that Russia is taking more and more operational risks in Europe. Why do you think Vladimir Putin is taking these risks at this moment?
First of all, it's not the first time. Yes, he's doing such pressure. I think it's political pressure. It's messages from Russia, don't help Ukraine. I think this is the most usual meaning what he used. Don't, if you will help Ukraine, I will do these such steps. So he tried once crossing at the very beginning of this war. He did it in Romania, and then a little bit later it was in Poland when they used 21 drones. Then, for example, today at night it was again Romania, not the first time. We gave these messages to our Romanian partners at night. Usually we try to catch all the drones, even when they're direction to other countries like Romania, Moldova, or the direction of Poland. We try to catch everything. If we can't, of course, we give these messages to our partners. We try to help them. And also the same with the Baltic countries, Estonia, Litva, Latvia. So Russia uses this just to attack politically and by weapon pressure on NATO countries to look and the reaction. So the reaction, I think the reaction has to be more strong from the unity of NATO countries. And I think that Putin is comparing how this reaction and how it's changed during this 1 year or 2 years, 3 years. This is the way how, and he also, the testing of air defense of other countries, NATO countries, which are bordering us or bordering Belarus or Russia. So he's testing what air defense they have. Can they destroy all the missiles or drones? This is what I think.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? to such extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.